Did you know in Canada, if you don't tip your server at a restaurant, then the server owes money out of their own pay to the restaurant and to the owner. And a lot of people that come to Canada don't know this, and I don't see a lot of people talking about this, so let me explain. So I've got the iPad out, and pretty much there is a thing called a tip out. And for all of the sales that the server does, they owe 3 to 10% of net sales. Typically it's around 7% to these people up here, so the manager, the cooks, the host. So if the customer gets $100 worth of food and drinks, the server typically will have to pay out 7%, so $7, and that $7 is collectively split between the other workers working that night. And the server owes that 7% regardless of whether the customer tips or not. All right, let's say the customer's bill comes out to $100 of food and drink. They add tax on top, so in Alberta 5%, so $105, and then they decide to leave an 18% tip, which is pretty normal. That's an $18.90 tip, so their total that they're paying to the restaurant is $123.19. And now the server has to tip out 7% of the net sales, so that's $7, and they use their $18.19 tip to pay out these staff up here, and they're left with $11.19 to keep in their own pocket as their tip. However, let's say the customer didn't leave a tip. The server still owes $7 from net sales to these people up here. So the server has to use their own pay at the end of the day to pay $7 of that order to the rest of the staff. Now I'm interested to hear your opinions, but I'm going to give you mine. Do I agree with the system? Absolutely not. Do I think it needs to be changed? Unequivocally yes. But do I still tip? Yes, I do. Instead, it should maybe just be a tip out of any tip that's left. So maybe 20 or 30% of the tip that's left is split between the staff. But just because I don't agree with the cultural norms doesn't mean that I shouldn't abide by those cultural standards. So when you come over here from Australia, from the UK, from any other country, and you say, oh, I don't tip in that country, so I'm not going to tip in this country, just have a little bit of a think about what you're actually doing. Maybe it will change in the future. But two things can be true. It definitely needs to change, but also you should be leaving it. That's my personal opinion. You can agree or disagree, and I would love to hear what your thoughts are. But yeah, I think if you're coming to a country that tipping is the social norm, you unfortunately, although you don't agree with it, you still have to tip.